First of all, welcome to Tom Ferrer from the Swedish game developer DICE. Very nice to have you here. And we're going to do this in English since that's your mother tongue, right?
Yeah, it's the mother tongue, and I apologise for my poor Swedish, but you know it's very
but
easy to be.
You lived in Sweden for 4 years.
Yes, I have. But it's very easy to be lazy in Sweden since everyone speaks such great English, and at work we've got quite an international team as well, so the language at work is also English.
We are very curious now about the new release that's coming up in November, Mirror's Edge. Would you say that this is the biggest thing for DICE since Battlefield?
I suppose so in a way, yes. I mean, it's the first, it's the first sort of new IP we're really kind of putting out there again. Obviously, we've got quite a lot of other titles going on, but they are within the BF franchise. So really, the idea with doing this and creating this title was to sort of add another string to our bow, basically. So we have another intellectual property that that we can use and is hopefully successful.
From what I've seen, it looks rather different than Battlefield.
Yeah, I mean that was really one of the goals. I mean it's sort of we wanted to do something that was quite different from Battlefield. So we didn't just want to make the same thing again, but wearing a different jacket or something. We decided we wanted to sort of move into quite a different space with the game.
So tell us about the game concept.
So it's set in a sort of near future city where the sort of traffic of information is very heavily regulated and monitored. And you play a runner called Faith. And what that basically is a kind of courier, basically, that transports information sort of across the rooftops and through the secret pathways in the city, kind of avoiding the kind of eyes of the government. The gameplay itself is focused, through her eyes, so it's a first-person game. And the sort of core mechanics and the way you play the game, it's really about sort of movement around the environment, which is quite unusual in a first-person game. It's usually just about sort of moving forward and shooting things.
But so how did you come up with this idea?
Basically, when we were tasked with creating this new game, we didn't really know what we were going to create, right? So sort of a lot of people sitting in a room, scratching our heads, thinking, OK, so what shall we do? And a few things we liked. So we're sort of talking about settings, and we liked an urban setting. And we knew we wanted to work in first person and try and develop that because it's where the strengths of our studio really lie. And then when we started testing different ideas, particularly working with the concept of chasing and running and quite fast movement around the environment, we found that the kind of traditional controls and way of playing in first person was really, really limited. And the environment itself made it worse because you'd see everything,
but
fences.
It's kind of spot on a lot of today's discussion with the FRA-lag, where the authorities are listening into your phone calls and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we've basically, when we're sort of creating the setting and the fiction, we've looked at things from all over the world that are happening, whether it's sort of, the regulation of the internet, I mean, the laws and things that have been under a lot of discussion here in Sweden. And we've basically kind of just pushed those a step further. So, it's not really it's just a very controlled society. It's really like a nanny state that's taken a few steps too far. And
this Hieronymus, Faith, why did you choose her? She's rather different than we've seen females being portrayed before.
Yeah, well, I think, when we sort of set out creating Faith, we really wanted to create a strong female heroine. And, we wanted to move away from the kind of traditional video game cliches of tiny little waists and enormous boobs. And such,
thankful for that.
Yes. I mean, such a big part of the game is about her sort of athleticism and the way she can move and run on walls and climb the environment. So we really wanted to make her look athletic, make her look like she could do what she does. Was
that an attempt to attract new target groups?
No. No, I mean, it was, really, I mean...
So you didn't sit down and say, what are we going to do?
No, there was no sort of discussion, right, so how do we create a character that does X, Y and Z? No, Faith actually came about, we liked the idea of a strong female character, but we didn't have one. And at the time we actually had a male lead. And we were concepting other characters for the game, and one of the characters was an early version of Faith, and we just thought she was great, so we just scrapped everything else and built everything around her.
So when's the game coming out?
The game's out November 13th on PS3 and 360. It's out a little later on PC, and we'll be announcing the release date for that pretty soon.
Super. Thank you for coming here today,
It's
Tom.
nice, great to be here. Thank you.